Welcome to the Upside Up Podcast. On this episode,
He asked me if I promised to laugh, and I told him I promised. I have to laugh at that? Possibly the hardest laughter we've ever had as part of this show. We were dying.
Easter egg.
Easter egg indeed.
I give it a 9.5.
You'll just have to go listen to the episode if you don't know what we're talking about. But
Cliffhanger.
yeah, cliffhanger.
But in fairness, you were avoiding a very creeping person, so.
Personally, I believe Santa Claus lives down there.
yeah,
You can ridicule me if you want to, but that's what I believe.
he shares a room with the Easter Bunny.
I
That's
thought
right.
he lived at the North Pole.
Well, that's what they want you to believe, so you can't find him.
Oh.
Yeah.
And now, here's your host, Jeremy Neas and Garrett Horn.
Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning. Welcome to the Upside Up Podcast. My name is Jeremy Neas, and I'm joined by the turned over a new leaf and is wearing ties on Sunday, Garrett Horn. How you doing, my friend?
I don't have enough ties to wear every Sunday, so
Well, you've been doing it recently.
Yeah.
A lot recently.
it's all my Christmas ties.
Oh, your Christmas ties. You had two?
No, I had, four?
Four?
I think.
Okay. All right. Well, we're excited to record another episode for your listening enjoyment today. Today on the show, we're going to recap our previous 24 episodes to start out 2018. Just, reminisce a little bit. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you to listen to. We've got clips from every episode, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. We'll have the Clash of the Wits. Unfortunately, we're not joined today by Justin. He was unable to get us a joke, but we have Stevens, and when I asked him if he could send us in a joke, he asked me if I promised to laugh, and I told him I promised. So really, it doesn't matter what this joke's going to be. I'm going to laugh.
I didn't promise, though.
Yeah, please don't laugh. That'd be funnier. All right, and then we'll have listener questions. We're not going to do a compelling contemplation this episode. We're afraid, me personally, I'm a little afraid that this may be a longer episode. It might be a really short one. I don't know. But we're going to eliminate that one for this episode only. All right, before we begin, it's time for the Upside Up headlines. We only had one, and I'll just run through it right quick. We had an iTunes review, a new one, and it's entitled My Favorite Podcast. I meant to include the username, and I failed to, so I don't remember their username. I have no idea who this person is, but if you left us this review, go ahead and tell us. We'd love to hear from you. The review was entitled My Favorite Podcast, and this person says, love it, very encouraging, super funny. We need more Christians connecting and being a positive influence on the world. Can't wait to listen to all episodes. So that was a very kind review. We certainly appreciate that. So thank you very much. All right. With all of that out of the way, I think that we're going to start the recap, and we'll start where most things start, with number one.
Numero uno.
Numero uno. And I think this is our most listened to episode, so I think by far, and I don't know if that's because of the content or just because people were checking out to see what we were doing, and then they were like, wow, no. But anyway, on this episode entitled Embarrassments and Disney, I told the story of my making a fool of myself in front of Steven. Take a listen.
My right foot doesn't hit the ground like I expected it to. I've tripped over the bag. And it's on a decline. Now, normally, I'm a decently balanced young man. I can usually keep myself from falling on my face, but I'm on a decline.
You start rolling down the hill.
Well, I didn't roll. It was a little worse than that, because my instinct was try to catch yourself.
Uh-huh.
And every step kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I am bumbling and stumbling down this hill, trying to catch myself. And like every step, I look drunk, is what it is. I'm trying to get down this hill, and I end up tucking my right leg under and sliding down. It was all reflex. I didn't really think about it, but I slid down the hill a little bit, and then I popped up. Well, there are still people in this backyard, and you're thinking right now, Stephen was back there. He saw you. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. End of the story. Well, no. He was there. He was coming up the hill while I was going down the hill. And his family was with him. So his whole family watched me bumble down this hill. And if that's not bad enough, I'm going to scoot back from the mic a little bit. In his preacher man's voice, very intimidating man, The only thing he can think to say with every step that I bumble down this hill is, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And I'm thoroughly embarrassed. Everyone is looking at me in the entire backyard. I can see bumble down this hill.
Voice crack.
And there's a Jackson's at the bottom of the hill. And he was like, "Yeah, Jeremy, give me a high five." And
Go Jackson.
yeah, the last thing that happened, the last thing I heard was Steven saying, "I give it a 9.5," and he walked off. And I've never been the same since. Really, every time I'm around him, I'm a little uneasy.
Yeah, so that's our first clip. Definitely, I don't know, called a fame. I don't think it's fame, but it's definitely an embarrassing story. So if you haven't checked that one out, that's our first episode, and that one was a lot of fun. I love the horrible recording quality on these first episodes when we were just doing it with one mic.
I was laughing a lot in that episode.
Yeah,
The whole thing's me laughing.
well, it was a funny story. All right,
Hee hee.
all right, number 2.
All right, so that one was called Disney and Dreams, and in that one we recap moments from our trip to Disney World.
One of the highlights of the trip was that bus ride back. Throughout the week,
Marcel,
yes. Throughout the week, Garrett and I, and even John Mark, would talk to the people, the cast members, the workers there. We would talk to them and call them by name. They all wear a name badge, so we just read it, and if we could pronounce the word that was on their name badge, we would say, "Hi, Steve," "Hi, whoever."
Yes.
Marcel was our bus driver, and with it being so late at night, a lot of people were coming back to the resorts, but no one else was going back to the park, so we had the whole bus to ourselves. And so we just sang. Another thing that we did throughout the entire week was sing songs.
So, I want to cut off a little abruptly, but I was trying not to get other things. You'll notice in these clips, I apologize, but I kind of cut off sentences and that kind of thing, so we don't make this any lengthier than we have to. But the best trip I think I've ever taken was that trip.
That was an awesome trip. I had forgotten the bus driver's name.
Marcel?
Yeah, Marcel. He loved our singing. He didn't want us to get off the bus, so
Yeah,
that was
no
pretty
kidding.
cool.
No kidding. The cool thing about the trip, one of the cool things, there's a lot of cool things, but I was thinking, how can we tell this on the podcast like the whole time? And I've never experienced that before, so that was really neat.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, Garrett creates a true or false quiz game for me to answer and compete in. And if you notice during this clip, we haven't ever mentioned this on the show, and I thought that this might be a good time to mention it. It sounds like I slap Garrett, and so we added an ow in there, and the ow that you hear, if you pick it up, is Corbin, and we did that in post, and possibly the hardest laughter we've ever had as part of this show. We were dying.
Easter egg.
Easter egg indeed. Check it out.
All the cells in the human body are fully replaced every 7 years. Fact or fiction?
That's true.
That is false.
Are you sure?
Yes. That's a very common. I hear that all the time.
I did hear that all the
But
time.
it's not true. Muscle and
Pretty
bone
sure I
cells
lost.
live to be about 25 to 30. They can live 25 to 30 years. And you're actually born with most of the neurons in your body.
Yeah,
Keep through your
I
whole
knew the
life.
neurons.
Well,
yeah.
neurons are cells.
Yeah, but I thought we were talking skin cells.
Well, skin cells, yes, but I said the human body.
Oh, technicality. I see. I'm pretty sure I already lost. Man.
Ow.
You want to go through the rest of them?
Yes, well, obviously.
So good. So I don't know if anyone's ever picked up on that, but that is a good one. And that episode was Facts and Phones. I didn't mention that one. All right, number 4, Garrett.
4 is called Cody and Jeffrey, and in this one, Jeffrey and Cody joined us to talk about being fathers. Jeffrey had just become a father, and Cody had a little more experience, so we got them on, and they kind of compared and contrasted some things.
Absolutely. Check it out.
Well, I'll go ahead and give that question to Mr. Cody. What has surprised you the most about having children?
I guess just the fact that priorities change so quickly.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you're typically single and then you're married, you have all these aspirations of doing things and going places, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then once a child comes in, you know that, and that's not a negative thing. Just
Right.
priorities change. You're focused on that child. I used to work out a whole lot more than I do now because I don't have time, and that's fine. I prefer to spend my time with my family. So that's the biggest thing for me is just the priority change.
Right.
Did you work out a lot before, Jeffrey?
Yes.
Good stuff. I liked that joke.
That wasn't true.
All right. So that's our first 4. Number 5, Steven joined us on the show. The episode was entitled Fingers and Reactions. And he told us about how he lost part of his finger in a carpentry accident recently at the time, and then responded to Jeremy's foolishness on the first episode. So this is a little bit of a lengthier clip, but I think it's a good one. So check it out. Well, we will move on to the reaction to our first episode, and I guess I would set it up by saying that you invited my family over, Mr. Steven, to your home for a lunch on a Sunday afternoon, us and some other families. And the whole time I was there, I kept debating whether or not to tell you the story I told on the podcast. And my mom wanted me to tell it, but there's other people there, and if I just start telling the story, and it's kind of a lengthy story because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of pressure on me, and I was like, I just don't know. Maybe he won't think it's funny. Maybe the people in the room won't think it's funny. So just all these insecurities start coming out. So I didn't say it, and I decided to tell it on the podcast. Not expecting you to listen to the podcast, to be honest.
Because nobody else does.
Yeah. But I thought that you would probably see it just on Facebook as we published it and that kind of stuff, but I didn't actually think you would give the time of day, because most people don't. So he won't listen to it. If I don't give what it's about, why would he listen to it? But nonetheless, the day after we posted it on my Facebook, you commented that was entertaining, and if I recall, there was no punctuation, so it was just that was entertaining.
I think I put an ellipsis.
Yeah, I put ellipsis.
Okay.
That was pause. Entertaining.
Okay. All right. Well, I did not know how to respond to that. I laughed when I first read it. I was like, wow, he actually listened to it. He didn't, there's no ill effects thus far. And he seems to think it was entertaining. That's better than interesting. If you had said that was interesting, I would have been alarmed. I would not have been working very productively at the moment. And then I get a text from Garrett. He's like, dude, Steven commented or something. Like, did you see Steven's comment? And I said, yeah. And I said something like, I thought it was funny or whatever. He was like, you think he's mad? And I was like, I was like, no. And should I think he's mad? And now I'm thinking, did I not read it right? And so I go back and read it. It says what I think it says. I'm like, why do you think he's mad? And he's like, I don't know. I just think he might be mad about it. And so I'm like,
I was really messing with you more than anything, but I did think there was a chance that he might have been mad. I didn't think he was, but I was just getting under your skin.
Well, it worked, because then I was like, should I text him? And he was like, yeah. And so I texted you, and I'm glad you thought the episode was entertaining. And so many words, are you mad? and you didn't indicate that you were, and I sent Garrett the message that you sent me, and he was like, dude, he is mad. I'm like, no, he's not. And
I don't even know what I texted back.
I don't remember either, but it just something about, it was entertaining or something.
Yeah, you said you'd be glad to come on anytime or something.
Right, so we took advantage of that. And but so now I'm alarmed. I'm like, Garrett, why do you think he's mad? At church the next day, he's still saying that. He's still saying, dude, he's mad. And then
because it was noticeably bothering you.
Yeah. Well, of course it was. But I did anyway, so I didn't think you were mad. So are you mad?
No.
All right, so that's a funny episode. If you haven't listened to that one, that one's number 5. And he goes on to actually react to what I was saying, but I think that's just a funny clip. Sorry about the length.
Oh, and he happened to lose part of his finger too.
We mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good listen of how he did that. So go and check that one out. All right, bud. Number 6.
Number 6 is Wreck and Swine. Very good name there. That one was when Isaac Munoz came on and talked about his near-death experience, and we learned a lot from it. That was one of the deepest episodes.
No doubt.
For clarification, it really wasn't a near-death experience in the typical use of the word.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I was trying to figure out how to type that.
Yeah.
You were reading that off of a script just to pull the curtain back.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't. I don't know what else you call that. He was
Yeah.
hit by a car. You'll just have to go listen to the episode if you don't know what we're talking about. But
Cliffhanger.
yeah, cliffhanger. All right, so yeah, number 6.
Oftentimes we talk about how brief life is, and all of us know that it's brief. All of us intellectually, we know that it can just be taken from us like that. But when you live it and when you experience it on a deeper level, people listen to you a lot more about it when you've seen it. People, so that's one of the things. Life is brief. That's what our experience tells us. That's what the Bible tells us as well. And that's one of the things that I'd like to express to people. The other thing is, while there weren't a whole lot of people that came out afterwards that said, Isaac, you need to be a lot more careful. One thing that I would say is, this was an accident. Replaying it in my mind again, there's nothing that I would do differently.
Right.
Again.
Right.
This was a horrible accident. And just because my incident was an accident doesn't mean that we should not help people that are in need. Help people in need. Those good Samaritans, those first responders did the very same thing that I was doing in coming to help me. So accidents, unfortunately, are a part of life. You can't stop them. We ought to take our precautions, obviously, but help others out.
Right.
That's one of the big things that I want to really emphasize to others is, don't let my accident hinder you. Rather, let it propel you and motivate you, because it is encouraging when you help someone out, and when others help you, you can really feel their love for you.
Great stuff by him. I'll ask you later on what your favorite episode is, but I'm just going to give mine away. That is my favorite episode.
Yeah, that was a really good one. And he's actually moving to Puerto Rico soon.
He sure is. So wish him all the best. Maybe we can have him on before he leaves. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that was I've heard other people say that that's their favorite episode as well. But that's a good one. That is a good one. All right, number 7, our editors Corbin and Caleb joined us to talk about their hobbies. And first up, Corbin talked about being a Boy Scout.
Probably my thing that I've learned the most in my time is our motto, which is be prepared. I mean, that's really stuck with me in everything I do. Just being prepared as much as possible. That's really ingrained in me. I think I have that to thank. So yeah.
Be prepared. No, good stuff from Corbin. Caleb then told us what it's like to be in the air in an airplane. So is that your favorite part about being able to fly, just being able to be up there in the sky with the birds and clouds and that kind of thing? Or?
The best part is when you're by yourself in a plane, there's a sense of freedom. You don't have any restraints. You don't have to stay between the lines.
All right.
You don't have to go a certain speed limit. I mean, there are rules to follow, but it's much more free.
Much more free. I've never flown, but it scares me to death, just to be honest.
Still haven't crashed any, right?
No, he hasn't. He said he hasn't. I don't think you've flown in a while, have you? No, he hasn't done that either. So, all right, number 8, my friend.
Number 8 is football and curbs. That one was when Jeremy recounted the story of his encounter with a creepy guy in Dollar General and the chaos that ensued. I remember this one.
Started to, I wouldn't say panic, but I wanted out of there quickly. And I said, I'll tell you in a second. And so I popped that car and drive. And I hit the accelerator. And I'm not flying or anything, but I go forward.
Oh, no.
And it was one of the... I didn't think about the cement blocks in front of me. And so I go, blum, 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 blum. And Alyssa's like holding on for dear life in there. And she said later that she looked over at the guy and the girl that were sitting in the car, and in her words, they were hee-hawing. They were just rolling in there, and I'm so glad I didn't see them, because it just would have been so much more embarrassing. But of course, they know the situation, and then I just, not in a moment of not thinking, go forward, because there was no car in front of me, and so I just went over the. I was just gonna go straight through and get out as fast as possible, not having to back up, and completely forgot about the cement blocks in front of me. And went over those. Well, if that wasn't bad enough, I turned a little too short and it hit the curb. So now I do look like a 15-year-old that can't drive. But anyway, I get out of there, and Alyssa's like, she's kind of laughing. She doesn't know what's going on, but she kind of laughs at the situation, also kind of scared, very embarrassed. And I go out on the Highway 72, and I head towards their house, and she was like, what happened? And so I explained the whole situation, and she was like, you just need to calm down. It's okay.
I'm good at embarrassing myself. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned.
But in fairness, you were avoiding a very creepy person, so.
I was, but that completely clouded all other judgment. All right, so yeah, that's a good story. You need to hear that whole thing. So go back and listen to number 8. Number 9 is listed is named Home and Homes, I should say, and Garrett tells us what it's like to be a homeowner.
All right, man. What you got on home ownership? We've talked about our hometown, so I guess we're just keeping a home vibe here.
We'll just call this episode Home.
Home, just home.
No, it's been quite an experience. I was really nervous and scared about buying a house, to be honest with you.
I can see why, yeah.
Yeah, me and Amber were at a point in our relationship where we kind of were ready to get married, and I wanted to have a house and a job, and so I got the job that where I felt like I could afford a house. So I started looking, and with the help of Miss Kathy and Laurent Presnell, they helped me find what I think is the perfect house for me. Like I love this house.
Yeah.
But in the I've had it about 6 months now. Moved in on April 1st. Closed on April 1st. So about 6 months exactly. I've learned a lot. Surprised myself how much I've learned in the last 6 months.
Yeah. I'll give you a quick taste into my life. I'm at the point where I'm getting closer to being able to move out and wanting to move out, to have that independence and that kind of thing. But there's a lot of things that I think right now that my life would be if I moved out. I have these predetermined ideas and that kind of stuff of what it would be like, but I'm sure that once I move out, it's going to be like a ton of bricks hit me in the face, not knowing what to do. So even looking for a house, all the loan stuff, that kind of thing, that's got to be.
It can be overwhelming. That's the first thing that I would say I've learned is you're taking on so much responsibility,
right?
But when you're actually thinking about how much you're taking on, before you actually do it, it seems like, wow, how am I going to be able to do this? I mean, do I know for sure that I'm going to be able to pay for everything I can pay for? And even if I can pay for it, how am I going to know, if something happens, if I'm in a car wreck, I'm going to have enough money to be able to pay for the deductible or whatever.
Right.
So, but when you start doing it and you make smart decisions, get good advice from people, and that's one thing that I did was I got a lot of advice from people, is this too much? Is this a good decision? And so if you take good advice from people that have been there, it makes it a lot easier when it's actually happened. Now I don't really stress about it. If something terrible were to happen,
right,
I would be stressed, but I know that I have the ability to do what I need to do.
I'll tell you what, you learned a lot, man.
Learned a lot. Now I need to talk about living with a wife.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, we have a question about that later. I'm not kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's see.
It's great. It is wonderful.
It is wonderful.
She's sitting right over here, so.
It has to be. No, just kidding. I'm sure it is. All right, number 10.
Number 10 is Theories and Peas. And this one was when we had Justin Thomas on to talk about conspiracies, and we learn about where Santa really lives.
I've seen a picture of a dove being killed or something. I can't remember. All I can remember is that there was a dove there being symbolically, the dove is peace, and so that being destroyed. I don't remember the tactic in which that was used, but it's like a mural in the airport.
Right.
And back to the president being taken to this bunker, would it have anything to do, if this were the case, would it have anything to do with the mountains that are in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, being any sort of protection? Is that?
It could be. I mean, the bunker was privately funded.
Okay.
Like I said earlier,
The thing is, it's not publicly known who funded it, but it was privately funded.
Okay.
Now those things are facts.
Right.
So, you've got to figure out what's going to be facts and what's going to be fiction, because people have taken this and just
run with it.
Yeah, they've run with it, and so you have to distinguish what's fact and what's fiction. It's another fact that federation or association, whatever it was that we mentioned earlier, doesn't exist. I mean, you can Google it and find it.
Maybe it was a typo.
Or not find it. Excuse me. Typo in stone.
Yeah, that's right.
They cut the wrong letter.
That's right. It was supposed to be FEMA and it's FINA.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, either way, the theory has been sort of debunked time and time again, because they've had some folks go in and supposedly spec it over. But the thing is that it's going to be officials that are working for the government, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
they find what they want to find.
Sure, yeah. So who knows? And personally, I've never been to the Denver airport. So,
I haven't either.
Somebody listening on the podcast may have been there and said, "Well, that don't sound anything like it." Again, this is just a theory. So
right.
It sounds believable and plausible, but I mean,
yeah, it's hard to tell. Personally, I believe Santa Claus lives down there.
Yeah.
You can ridicule me if you want to, but that's what I believe.
He shares a room with the Easter Bunny.
I thought he lived at the North Pole.
Well, that's what they want you to believe, so you can't find him.
Oh.
Yeah.
I knew the Denver airport. Never would have thought it.
That's right. You see? Makes sense, right?
Makes sense. I think so.
You still believe that?
I do.
All right.
Wholeheartedly. My tongue is in my cheek. All right. Number 11. Let's see. What was this one called? Sports and Impressions. And we talked about times where life and sports intertwined. And this was a really interesting episode in my mind, at least. I really like sports, and I like how when there's like a heartfelt story around sports. So anyway, we talked a little bit about that.
Another thing I saw that I can also relate to is there's a wall in Wrigley Field. And when the Cubs won, Cubs fans rushed to that wall and they wrote down the names of their deceased relatives who had never gotten to see the Cubs win the World Series. And
That's
they wrote on it.
That's pretty special.
And, I have people in my life that, like my aunt, who helped me become an Alabama fan.
Right.
She didn't get to see one more national championship before she died, but I wish she could see right now. Because when I was growing up with her, Alabama was pretty bad. But we were still huge fans. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But now, that Alabama is the best program currently. I would love for her to be able to see that. Yeah. So I relate to that.
You relate to that. I think that was a good story.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a good episode. And one that I think is underrated. If I had to give an underrated stamp to one of our episodes, I give it to number 11, Sports and Impressions. Underrated. All right, number 12.
Number 12, we talked about politics and yaks, and that's when we had our pal Sebastian come on, and he told us a little bit about his culture.
You've mentioned yaks. Are they a big part of your culture?
Oh, yeah. The yak is everything. Without the yak, we don't exist. We depend on the yak for everything, but most importantly, the milk. And everyone in the village has a yak. I have my own yak.
And what's your yak's name?
His name is Zach. Zach the yak. And unfortunately, Zach is a runt. And so he gives me no milk, and he's too small to ride. So no milk, no ride, just companionship.
Well, we all need a companion.
That's a great story, man.
Yeah.
So that's when Sebastian came on to the show, and that one's quoted from time to time, that episode. And what I'll say is sometimes your creative endeavors, they are praised. Sometimes there's mixed results.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for the Clash of the Wits. Yeah. It's time for the Clash of the Wits. And the score is 9-7, I believe, and Justin's winning. I was trying to trace back steps, and I got a little confused, but I think it's 9-7.
You're easy to confuse.
I am. I sure am. That's why I'm a therapist. A physical therapist. Assistant, yes. I hold the clipboard. All right. Steven, what do you got for us?
Hey, guys. Do you know how many apples grow on a tree? All of them.
I have to laugh at that?
Steven, Justin doesn't even have a joke, and I think you lose this one.
No. I tell you what, that was a. I laughed. I promised to. Wow. All right. Number 13. Gable joined us, and that one was entitled Impersonations and Whiskers. And he talked about, well, he didn't just talk about it. He gave us examples of his talent of voice acting. And here's an example.
Stupid fat hobbit! You ruins it! What's to ruin? There's hardly any meat on them. What we need is a few taters. What's taters, precious? What's taters, eh? Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Lovely big golden chips with a nice piece of fried fish. Even you couldn't say no to that. Oh, yes, we could. Spoiling nice fish. Give it to us raw and wriggly. You keep your nasty chips. You're hopeless.
I remember that exact scene, and that was flawless.
That's so good.
So good. So good. People have complimented, have told me how much they thought of Gable's impersonations. They're so good.
He's got a real talent for that.
He sure does. Number 14, my friend.
Number 14 is the past and future, and that is when we recap 2016 and discuss our lives moving into 2017.
It is the trendy thing to say that 2016 was a horrible year. I don't know if you've noticed this.
I've heard that.
It has been, at least on my Twitter, it's been everywhere. Caleb can attest to it. It's ridiculous. And if you're listening to this and you think that 2016 was a horrible year, you're breathing.
I had to cut that one short because I went on to say some other points, but I think that said it pretty well. You're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be thankful.
Did you meet your
for what we have.
2017 goals?
Did I meet them? I wouldn't say I necessarily met them. I kept them in my mind a lot, but I didn't achieve them like I had hoped.
I got married.
Yeah, well, attaboy. I didn't. Number 15.
Maybe next year.
I don't know about that. All right, number 15, Tears and Tanks. And we get serious and talk about weeping in this episode.
Our society says that crying is a sign of weakness, especially in terms of men. If a man cries, that's a sign of weakness. But what does God say? I mean, here in Ecclesiastes, the Wisdom of Solomon writes that there is a time to weep and there's a time to laugh. I mean, for me, I laugh a lot. You and me, we laugh all the time. We've laughed a bunch just sitting here before the show and even during the show.
Laugh.
We love to laugh.
I love to laugh.
Maybe we laugh at times when we shouldn't laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been guilty of that, I'm sure.
Yes.
But more so, I know that there have been times when I should have wept, or I should have, maybe even if I couldn't produce physical tears, maybe I should have been more sensitive or to weep with those who weep, as we see here in Romans chapter 12 and verse 15. Rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. So anyway, this verse, it's just been, this section especially, but especially this verse, it's been very interesting to me that there's a time for everything under the sun, and there's a time to weep.
Good stuff, Jeremy.
That was one of our deeper episodes. Number 16.
16, Tunes and Tones. Katie joined us to talk about her love of music. She does love music. And during that conversation, Jeremy found another way to make fun of me.
Boy, did I.
Lovely.
Okay, so what would be your favorite musical? We talked about just piano in general and stuff, but musicals, I know that you like them and I love them, and Garrett likes them too.
High School Musical?
No.
Oh.
So
Sound of Music.
So this is...
Wicked.
I have Sound of Music on my list. I don't know if it's my favorite. I like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
That is a good one. It's hard to
That's a good
beat
one.
anything with Dick Van Dyke.
I know.
Let's be
Dick
honest.
Van Dyke is my favorite
Chitty
actor.
Chitty Bang Bang.
What?
You need to see it.
Can I discriminate against you for once? Because
Yeah.
that is ridiculous.
We all have dark secrets. And one of mine is I've never seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I've never seen The Lion King. I'm going to hold this over.
You know,
your
I
head.
might have seen it when I was a little kid. I vaguely remember maybe watching it at my grandparents'.
So you would say you might have seen parts of it?
Maybe. But
this is the best day of my life.
I can't even really say that. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember it being on at my grandparents' when I was
Okay, all right. Well, to be honest, I don't know if I've sat through and hold on. Let me finish my sentence, sir, before you accuse. I don't know if I've sat through the entire thing in one sitting, but I think I've seen every scene. I just don't think
at some point.
Yeah, so I wouldn't
That's
say
how
I've
you
seen
watch
parts
movies,
of it. That's
Jeremy.
right. I saw parts of it at different times and have seen the whole thing by now. That's how Jeremy likes to watch. Watch? Yeah, watch movies.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said. I was about to say watch podcasts, and I don't know why I was going to say that.
I got to make fun of Garrett.
Still haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's disappointing. All right, number 17. I tell Garrett the story of how I locked my keys inside my car right before picking up Alyssa for our 2-year anniversary date. I tell you what, I can't write this stuff.
So, any closing remarks from that?
No. Sounds like something that might happen to me, but it hasn't happened to me.
Yeah, I've been scared of locking my keys in my car multiple times because there's only the one key, and I've just never done it. And then in this one moment of stupidity,
what would have been stupid would have been breaking the window.
I thought about it. I didn't think about it very long, but I mentioned to a coworker, I was like, I was telling the story, and this individual goes, "Just break the window." And I was like, it crossed my mind, but it was a very small moment in time. It was a nanosecond.
I mean, what were you gonna do? Drive to the date with the broken window?
Like the window in the seat, you know? I was like, I thought for a second, I could just break the window. No, that's not a good idea. So that's how my mind works. Anyway,
could you get in through the trunk?
I thought about that too, and no. I mean, I didn't have any key. I mean, there was no physical way to get in.
There was none whatsoever.
You didn't get to go on your date, then you broke up.
Nope, that's not what happened. No. I did get inside my car, and you'll have to find out how if you don't know by listening to the episode, but had a great date. Had a great one. All right, number 18.
Number 18. Wow, manhood and vacations. I like that. That one was when Andrew Boynton joined us to talk about his trip to Idaho. Lots of potatoes.
We just picked a weekend and packed into a Honda Civic, 5 of us, and took off to Idaho. Yeah,
sounds like a clown car situation.
It was brutal.
Wow,
5 people.
That? Well, you should have gone in an Accord. Can I make that joke again?
Oh man,
no.
Classic.
Well,
that's an old time. That's a classic.
So how long was the trip? Like,
it was
hours?
I think it was like 33 hours of driving time. It took us like 40 hours from the time we left to the time we actually got there.
Oh, and you said you did this on a weekend?
No, actually, we didn't. It was in the summer.
Okay.
I think I might have said that. I was just not thinking. But
okay.
we left at like 9:00 at night, Wednesday night, and we got there. There are 2 time changes between here and Idaho, so it's kind of confusing. But we got there at like 11 on Friday, I think. 11 a.m.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
So it was
on Friday.
So that's basically it's 1 o'clock our
time. It was like yeah.
Okay, are they Mountain or Pacific? What time zone are they?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You went there. It was a blur.
If it's 2 time zones,
and we were really frustrated because we were like almost there. We thought, and then we didn't realize the time changes like right before you get to his house. So it was like we got another hour all of a sudden. We were like, no.
That's funny.
You were in a car with 5 people.
Yes.
For 33 hours.
Yes.
I bet you got to know them very well.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I already knew them pretty well. So,
Well,
it was either going to strengthen our relationship or tear us apart for life.
Yes. I bet it did. I bet that would bring some interesting conversation.
Yeah. A lot of sleeping, too. Well, we tried to sleep. It didn't work so well.
I can't imagine being in a car all the way to Idaho. That would...
Especially not with you. Woo.
I'll tell you what, yeah. That would be something. All right, number 19, I introduced my idea for a new fun segment, the Rabbit Hole Quiz Show. The quiz show that we're going to play, I'm excited about this.
I'm going to win.
So to win, buddy, you've got to you can miss up to 3. I've got 10, so you can get a C
I won't miss
and
any.
pass. Okay, if you get all these right, buddy, I will shake your hand. Boy, I will shake it.
I probably won't get any right.
No, so you got to. Well, I don't know if that's fair. Let's say 6. You got to get 6
so
right.
It's hard.
Well, I mean, they're just random facts. You shouldn't know any of these.
Okay.
So what I did here is I'm calling it the Rabbit Hole Quiz Show. what I did is I just went on the internet and I searched something and I got a fact from it, and then that fact led to another fact, and it just goes on and on and on. So the Rabbit Hole Quiz Show.
Nice name.
Thanks. I thought about it a long time. All right. So number 1, buddy, the largest prairie dog town was found to be 100 miles long. Where was this town found?
Oklahoma.
A. Northwest Montana. Oklahoma.
I just guessed somewhere.
All right. Northwest Montana. A. B. West Texas. C. South New Mexico. Or D. North-South Canada. D's not supposed to make sense.
Which one was Southwest Texas?
There wasn't a Southwest Texas.
There's the one in Texas.
Okay, B. West Texas. That is correct, sir.
I knew it because they live out west.
Great job.
But
buddy.
not all the way to New Mexico.
Not all the way to New Mexico. All right. That was,
I'm a prairie dog expert.
I love prairie dogs. We've established this in our own friendship. But anyway, good job. So you got one right. That is one. So I got to remember this.
Do I get any lifelines?
No lifelines.
I'm going to phone a friend.
Who are you going to phone?
Amber.
Amber? Okay. She is your friend. I love that quiz show, just personally.
That was great.
I have a great time with that one.
I am a prairie dog expert.
Boy, yeah, you are, boy. All right, number 20.
20, celebrations and suspenders. Very fitting of Jeremy. Gable and Justin join us for their second times to do more voice acting. First, Gable gives us an awesome intro.
I don't really know what all we're going to be doing, but these two gentlemen are going to be doing impressions, and I hear that maybe we're playing a game or something, so I'm going to throw it over to y'all.
Yeah.
You're not in charge anymore.
That's right.
Well, before we do that, I have a little thing prepared to read off.
Okay.
Before we start, so I'm gonna do that real quick.
All right.
This summer and every other season of the year, experience the audio adventure of a lifetime, filled with dad jokes, excessive giggling, Marcus Mariota, and way too many country music outtakes, starring Jeremy Nias, the beardless wonder, and Garrett Horn, the Mariota lover.
No.
Editors Caleb Valander, Joshua Valander, and Corbin Roth wonder, how in the world did we get stuck doing this? The Upside Up Podcast, already on a mobile device near you.
Now, Justin gives us his impeccable Cusco.
All right, Justin, do you have another one?
Yes. However, I just realized that I left out an impression from the previous one.
From the Crunk?
From the Crunk movie.
Go for it.
We
can never have too many
I just wanted to do
impressions.
the part where he fell off the cliff,
Uh-huh.
and Cusco said, "Oh, I'm a come to Canyon Ward, and I'm taking you with me." Well, not today, pal. Anyway,
That's really
awesome.
That really sounded like his voice. I've always thought of you as a Kronk guy, but that was really good.
Don't know what that says about a guy.
Thank you.
Gable's little intro there that he does for us. I love that. I absolutely love that. I wish that I had that without our laughter, just so we could play it on the episodes. So good. And Justin's Cusco, impeccable, no doubt. Very good.
Muy bien.
Muy bien.
Muy bueno.
All right, just a few more here. Number 21, that was, let's see, Marriage and Swans. Garrett and Amber talk about their relationship and the beginning of their lives together as a married couple. So now that you've started your first year together, y'all are what, a month and a half, 2 months in?
Yeah, June 3rd. Yeah, about a month and a half tomorrow.
Month and a half in. Have y'all, what have y'all learned about just the start of marriage that y'all can share with us who are curious?
Garrett snores.
Garrett snores.
Incorrect. But maybe I do, I don't know. But one thing I learned is sharing a life full-time with someone is pretty busy, especially when she's teaching.
Yeah.
So I get off work, go right up to the school and
Yeah.
work on some more. And I don't mind at all, but it's just really busy, and it's flown by mainly because we haven't had any time to catch up.
Have you caught up?
Nope.
All right. Number 22.
Number 22 is Suffering and Fashion. We talk about fashion trends for fall 2017, and I go off. Take a listen.
more adventurous suiting,
only-
and this is something I saw all over the place. It's trendy now
No,
to wear different color suits.
Now y'all can't see the pictures, but the person in this picture is pretty much the least manliest person I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's got a hand on the hip.
Yeah, I know.
And he's wearing
He's wearing like Converse or something without
his
socks.
pants are too short, and he has no socks on. And this is a website about style. Oh, and that suit he's wearing that's probably costs about $30 to make is $1,895. I mean, what is this?
By Burberry.com. That is so funny.
I can't get over he's not wearing socks. I mean, it's fall. He's going to get cold.
That according to our iTunes metrics is our least popular episode. That one is one of my favorites.
I think that one's pretty funny. That one might be my favorite.
That's a good one. Number 23, entitled Technology and Policemen. Brad Collins joined us to talk about the dangers of technology and how interacting with people has suffered. I also know the difficulty that I have trying to communicate with someone and it not coming across the exact opposite of what I want over text. Can you relate to this, Brad?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I write software for a living. So I spend most of my time interacting with a computer, not with human beings.
Sure.
At least not directly.
Yeah.
So I can certainly relate to that. And of course, because that is the typical day-to-day interaction, a lot of folks who are introverted and shy tend to go into that kind of work. So it is a frequent topic among at conferences and a frequent topic on podcasts. I listen to some tech podcasts where they talk about how most problems are people problems. Very few problems are genuinely technical problems. And so if we lose our personal skills, those soft skills, as some people call them, then we lose the ability to be able to solve these problems. You can't just write a program or throw some hardware together to fix all of those problems.
You sure can't. Yeah, there was some real wisdom there. And number 24.
Number 24, last but not least, Harold and BuzzFeed. In this Thanksgiving special, Jeremy, myself, and Caleb tell an original story about a Cyclops.
Charles, by this point, is absolutely giddy. What an adventure! On their way back to Harold's house, Charles shows Harold his prized possession, the shiny rock he found in the cave. Harold looks on with amazement. Charles tells him how they found it, and that it's the coolest thing he's ever had, and that he wouldn't give it up for the world. After a while, the boys notice that their cycloptic friend is the only living thing they have seen in Unioptic. Kenny asks,
"Where's your mommy?"
"She left me when I grew up. I haven't seen her since,"
Harold says as his countenance falls.
"Does anyone live in this world besides you?"
asks Charles.
"Yes, but I never see them. That's why I'm so happy to see you boys,"
Harold replied.
"We'll be your friends. We love it here,"
replies Kenny, which forces a smile to come across Harold's face. But this smile isn't like the friendly smiles he had previously showed. He is thinking. Suspicious of their new friend, Charles quickly interrupts.
"Well, Harold, it's been wonderful to meet you, but we must be getting back for lunch before our mother starts to worry." "Oh, don't leave quite yet. I want to show you my house first. Who knows when you'll return to my land for another visit."
And that was, you'll have to find out what happens to the rest of the story.
That one turned out surprisingly good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Nobody's really given us any feedback on that episode.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah, well, according to that, I don't know how they get that popularity on iTunes, to be quite honest with you, because it doesn't have that many listens. But, yeah. So that's all 24 episodes, man. That was a little trip down memory lane. Anything that you take away from those things?
We've got a lot of episodes under our belts.
We do.
We're savvy vets now.
Savvy vets, man. We're kind of like the... like in the NBA, you know how there's like a journeyman, and he's like, he just stands in the corner and hits threes on like championship winning basketball teams.
Yeah.
That's what you and I are. We're just in the corners.
I was thinking more like Tom Brady.
Oh. You mean because they beat the Titans?
Everybody beats the Titans.
No, not the Chiefs. We come back and beat the
nobody. Chiefs. Not the Chiefs.
That's right. We watched the so Garrett and I, that's the only team that we agree on in terms of sports. We're always like rivals against each other, but we both like the Titans. He doesn't really like Marcus Mariota, so we still find something to argue about because I do. But I tell you what, he came up big that night. We watched the game together.
Threw a touchdown pass to himself.
Pretty awesome. Pretty
cool.
awesome. So what's your favorite episode? Is it that fashion one, or did you have another one?
That one or the Isaac one. Those were quality.
Quality. I tell you what, the audio quality was much better in the fashion one, but the Isaac one had so much more substance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. All right, so let's get to the listener questions. I hope that y'all enjoyed that. I meant to say that a second ago. I put a lot of time and effort into that, but we really wanted to reminisce and wanted to tell you about our appreciation for everything that y'all have done for us to encourage us as we've tried to create content for your enjoyment. When I went back and listened to all of those, it really brought back a lot of memories. One of them, you can hear cicadas in the background, and it's like 20 degrees outside right now, so that made me feel good. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank y'all to everyone who listens and encourages us with this show. Okay, so back to the listener questions. Gable Duke asked, why is Marcus Mariota the best NFL quarterback ever?
He is not.
Yes, he is. No, he's not. He's not the best ever. I enjoy him a lot, but he's not the best ever.
He's not in the top.
Probably the top
150.
Whoa. Top 150 quarterbacks? He's not in the top 150 quarterbacks.
Of all time?
Ever. He did say ever. I was thinking in the league.
Yeah.
No, he's probably not in the top 150. Not yet, anyway. He could develop.
He could, but he'll probably just continue to be a turnover machine.
Maybe.
Because that's Titans football.
Titans football. Always a foot short.
Yep.
All right. Samuel Hester asked us, what animal would you have if you couldn't have a dog, cat, or a fish?
A liger.
A liger.
Bred for its skills and magic. You know how cool it'd be to have a liger, a lion, and a tiger mixed? I mean, that thing's so big you probably ride it.
That would be really cool, but I think he was meaning more of a practical pet.
Well, I guess that's technically a cat too, isn't it?
It is. I didn't think about that.
Prairie dog?
It's not a dog.
It's not really a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good right there.
No, I changed my answer. I would have an otter.
Wow.
I've always wanted an otter. I think those are the coolest looking animals.
Yeah.
And they're kind of cute, which is not manly to say, but I want an otter.
I like otters. I do. Those are really neat. I want a giraffe. How cool would that be? Have a giraffe in your backyard?
You should not even drive anymore. You should just ride. There's a giraffe everywhere.
That'd be
here comes
cool.
Jeremy to church.
Oh, dear. And we'd wear matching cardigans. I'd find a giraffe-sized cardigan.
There you go.
That's right. All right, Will Harris with a good question. This one's for Garrett. He says, I think there's a lot of good advice available from the Bible, other Christians, etc., on preparing for the new roles and responsibilities that come with marriage. That being said, what are some of the challenges to newly married couples that you didn't expect?
It's like if you listen to this whole podcast, I mentioned in a previous episode that sharing your life with someone is a big responsibility, and there's a lot to that. It's dividing up your time wisely, making sure she feels listened to, which I'm not always great at, but I'm working on.
Yeah, you don't listen to me either. So
no, I don't listen to you, but I have to listen to Amber.
That's right. That's right.
No, but yeah, you just don't. You see it, people that are married, and you hear about it, and you think, yeah, I can do that, and of course you can do it, and it's worth doing, but it's harder than it looks a lot of days, but it's totally worth it. So
yeah, I have no input whatsoever.
You will soon.
I don't know, but I tell you what, you're gonna start rumors now. I tell you what, man. All right, Katie Sexton asked, which part of the podcast process have the two of you most enjoyed so far? For example, planning episodes and future ideas, recording, or the feedback you get from knowing that people like what you do. That's a fantastic question, I might add. So was Will's. All of them are always good, but that one, that's a good one. My favorite part of the podcast is knowing that someone likes what I'm able to produce just in my mind. You know, I think that's so much fun. The process, I really do enjoy preparing for the episodes, but I think the things I like most is just sitting down with my buddies and recording and knowing that people enjoy listening to us, which I don't know why that is. I really don't.
Yeah, I like recording, but I also like the feedback. You know, when you have somebody from church come up, man, that was cool. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a lot of fun.
I've made my aquarium famous at church because of that. So
yeah, you should have a sign made famous by Upside Up Podcast. That'd be funny. All right, man. And as we wrap up this 2017 and 16 look back, and we look forward to 2018. What does your 2018 look like? Do you have any resolutions? Any things you're looking forward to this year?
One day at a time.
That was the most cliche sports interview answer I've ever heard.
No, I haven't made any specific resolutions. I mean, I'm always, no matter what time of year, I'm wanting to do better than I did the day before. So that's, I mean, literally one day at a time, I guess. I'm looking forward to seeing what it brings. They seem to go by faster as I get older. I know I sound like a older person saying that, but I guess I am becoming an older person in a lot of ways. So,
brought to you by Garrett's Book of Cliches.
Yeah.
All right. Since you asked, my 2018.
I did not ask. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. What's your 2018 looking like, Jeremy?
Well, I graduate this year from college, assuming that I pass everything, and hopefully by the summer. Now we gotta redo all that. Y'all are making this so difficult. All right. Well, I graduate this year, and that's I'm sorry. I know you need to get the
I think it's funny. That's hilarious.
Well, so I've tried to answer that question twice now, and every time Garrett pulls his ring off his finger when I mention graduation and holds it up in the air like I'm about to engage or something. And I guess he's just trying to start rumors. I don't know what it is, so thanks a lot, buddy. But my 2018, I don't know what all it'll bring, but I do hope to graduate from college, which will be, that means a lot to me. I put a lot of work into it, a lot of time, a lot of money. Ugh, a lot of money. Blah.
Money.
But I'm definitely looking forward to that. Matthew will turn 14. That's wow. Yeah.
Impressive.
I tell you what, he's lived on the earth 14 years. Or he will be then. And I don't know. I hope to buy a new car this year, so that will be awesome. A new used car.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no more Debbie stories, which probably when I buy a car, we'll have an episode about all the Debbie mix-ups.
Can I get a picture of Debbie before the end of the world?
Before the end of the world, I suppose, if you can find her. No, but in terms of resolutions, they're very similar to last year, and I hope to actually achieve them this year. So that's all I know to say. All right. Well, thank you for all the encouragement. Again, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. We appreciate everything that y'all do for us. We sincerely apologize for not recording in December. It was a busy month with the holidays and everything. But anyway, we're back, and we will try to do this once a month as we can. I start a clinical rotation Tuesday, so that means Jeremy will be busy. And Garrett's always busy. Yep. But anyway, as we wrap this up, we want to thank Katie for her excellent work writing and playing our music. She does an absolutely fantastic job, and we couldn't have done it without her. We want to thank our friend Kevin for helping us record those. We couldn't have done that without him, no doubt. And we want to thank Justin and Stephen for their jokes. Justin unable to help us this week, but hopefully next episode he will join us. We want to thank our team of hard-working, selfless individuals, and that being our head producer and editor Caleb, our head graphic designer Corbin, assistant producer Joshua and our voiceover artist Justin for their great work. We appreciate so much everything that they've done for us. And I want to thank you, Garrett, for joining me today on this episode as we reminisce down memory lane.
You are so welcome, man.
All right, episode 25 is in the books. Stay upside up in this upside down world, and we'll hopefully talk to you next month.
Thanks for listening. Leave a comment on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
It's the Mido Cats reference. Did anybody catch that one?
I got it.
Did you catch it?
You too.
Sorry.
That wouldn't be great. I'll tell you that. It wouldn't be great. Good night.
I can't hear anything.
There has never been a time he sat down with those mics. He's like, I can hear myself.
Oh, I can. Whoa. Jeremy, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna die?
Mm-hmm.
When? Long time from now.
I have no idea.
We hope.
That's a waveform. That's not blue.
What color is that?
I mean, it's blue, but that's not what it is.
Is it true that your brain produces phosphorus when you see red? I've heard that.
Okay.